The Nigerian Exchange has recorded its most explosive trading session in history, with a massive 5.1 trillion naira single-day surge propelling total market capitalization to an unprecedented peak. Monday's performance marks the single largest 24-hour gain ever witnessed on the exchange, with market capitalization also crossing the 120 trillion naira mark. The mid-month historic surge, 4.37%, was propelled by rally in high-value blue-chip stocks, most notably Aradel Holdings, Nestlé Nigeria, Presco, MTN Nigeria, Better Glass, and GTCO. To unpack this and to tell us what this means for investors, I'm joined by Kehinde Jones, the head research at Anchoria Asset Management Limited. Thank you, Kehinde, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, now, this is unprecedented. I mean, I'm not even going to lie about that. So how significant is it, and what's responsible for the rally we saw yesterday?
Market capitalization increased from 110 trillion naira to 117 trillion naira in the previous week. And this rose from 117 trillion naira to 122 trillion naira in a single day. So, however, we should note that the 5 trillion increment from Friday last trading day, last week to this as at yesterday, Monday, was not as a result of the total traded in terms of value. The total value that was done yesterday was around 64 billion. But the increment was as a result of increasing, or let me say, more active trading stock like Aradel, which traded around 11 billion naira yesterday, and MTN traded around 7.5 billion naira yesterday. We saw Nestlé, there was a cost negotiated day or cost day that happened on Nestlé yesterday, which total value that was done on Nestlé was 3.93 billion yesterday. Also, Arando also gained 10% yesterday. And currently at the market, Arando is also gaining, currently trading around 47 currently at the market. We saw Lafarge Africa WAPCO, which also traded around 2.68 billion naira yesterday. Dangote Sugar also traded around 2.39 yesterday. So this transaction does not add up to it add up to the 5 trillion in terms of value, but not as the market capitalization. So in terms of market capitalization, what we saw was that major big cap like Nestlé, MTN, Dan Cement, WAPCO, Bra Cement, GTCO, Zenith, as the share price keep increasing, the market cap keep increasing. We should also note that from the last decade, the all share index yesterday was the highest within last decade, within a single day, that the market cap increased significantly by 5 trillion. So the market capitalization increase was as a result of increase in share price across many listed companies, not simply because of large volume of share that was traded. Major stocks like I may mention, like Aradel, MTN, Zenith Bank, GTCO, recorded a strong price gain and also trading activity yesterday. So the major reason why we are seeing a bullish run at the market was as a result of two major reasons. A very strong corporate earnings, which it has increased the institutional participation in the market. Also, we should not forget that PENCON revised pension fund equity limit, and those are the two major reasons why the market is on a bullish one. Presently at the market, Okumu is currently trading around 1,450, which it has made the entire price of Anchoria Research. So by today end, we'll be doing evaluation of Okumu itself and other consumer goods, where we see whether most of them are overpriced or underpriced. So we should not neglect that there's a strong market liquidity currently in the equity market, where we are seeing that in a single day, just like yesterday, about 64 billion naira in terms of value was traded. So although the outlook for this week remain positive, gain will surely become more moderate, where we see that valuation is quite settling. So the 5 trillion market cap gain was not the same thing as 5 trillion traded value. The traded value that was done yesterday was 64 billion, while the market cap increased by 5 trillion naira.
All right. I mean, I like how that you're just trying to make that clarification. You mentioned two things, and interestingly, these are things I would also like to touch on. I mean, it's believed that the revised variable investment limits for ordinary shares across key retirement savings accounts fund, unlocked liquidity in the market. And you mentioned something in that regard. But what percentage of this, rally can be safely attributed to this?
So if you look at what is going on in the market, so institutional are playing high in the market, very, 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 very high in the market. And before institutional play big in the market, like the PFAs and the rest, they will have done valuation, carry out a proper research before they invest in all this. So stock like Aradel, MTN, Zenith Bank, GTCO, Nestlé, Orlando, and Lafarge, and Dangote Cement, Dangote Sugar, and Access Co was most traded yesterday. In terms of value, it was most traded, top 10 traded. And I will tell you for free that the major cause for this is that if you look at most of this traded stock that was most traded yesterday, in terms of the financials, they have a good fundamental analysis in terms of profitability, in terms of liquidity. So we've seen Seplat moving in full bid. We've seen Aradel trading above 1,100 currently at the market. And mostly the major cause of this is a lot of investors want to pump money into the economy, want to pump money into the equity market. Like I always said at the beginning of this year that global investor, what we keep seeing from last year, as at August 2025, we've seen about FDI increase to 1.3 trillion naira within 8 months.
Okay, Kehinde, I was actually asking you, we understand that, RSA, their funds, their cap on, equities has been increased, and people are saying that to a very large extent that has unlocked liquidity. So I'm asking, what percentage of what we are seeing is as a result of that liquidity that has been unlocked due to the increase in the cap for RSA funds?
Okay. So we've seen about 8% currently since the news came out for the increment of the RSA pension fund equity limit. So we've seen increment of the market activity increase by 8%.
All right. Now, talking about some of the stocks which you have mentioned, but I want to dwell on a particular sector, Aradel, Loando, and in fact, the oil and gas sector closed in the negative in 2025. But here we are in 2026, we see this sector powering the NGX to daily highs. I mean, talk to us, what exactly is happening? Is that where we should put our money in 2026?
I would say that in 2026 is a year of pre-election, and oil and gas sector is performing the best top performing this year. However, we should not neglect that the fact that oil volatility is still there. OPEC Plus trying to increase supply, and when there's increase in supply, demand. When there's increase in supply, demand. If demand remains constant, price will surely fall. So, consumer sector is a sector we should look out for this year. Banking sector is a sector that we should look out for this year. Oil and gas, there's fun in oil and gas. Last year, 2025, Aradel was trading around 400, 600. But that is not the true valuation of Aradel or Seplat. Currently, Aradel, with valuation, Aradel is supposed to be trading around 1,200 currently, and Seplat is supposed to be trading around 11,000 to 12,000 naira. So, oil and gas is still a good sector to monitor, but we should not neglect the fact that oil price volatility, geopolitical issue, US and Iran issue are still there, moving the oil price upward and downward slope. It's not stable. So, for me, consumer sector, banking sector, IT and communication are a sector that we should look out for in 2026.
All right, from what you said, I'm asking myself, what should we do with this valuation? You talked about Seplat saying it should be around 11 to 12,000, and then Aradel around 1,200. I think I'll just leave that to investors and anyone who is watching to do with that whatever he or she wants to. And then you've also touched on consumer goods, so I'll just leave Presco out of it because I wanted to ask you one or two things about that. Just before I move on, do you see MTN hitting the 1,000 mark in 2026? You've talked about some stocks. What about MTN?
Why not? It's possible that MTN will hit 1,000 in 2026. As of last year, December, it was around 500, 600. With valuation now, MTN is supposed to be trading at 800. However, based on this rally, this month, market have gained about 15%. But when we market correction occur, that's the question we should be asking ourselves, because a lot of investors are pumping money into this stock, buying high, and most of these institutional retail clients are buying now. They don't know a certainty when market correction will surely occur. So I'm seeing MTN trading around 1,000 this year, based on they have a good fundamental. We should not forget that in 2024, MTN, as of November 2024, MTN was trading around 190, 170, 190. But with a negative shareholder fund. But the CEO of MTN came out with different strategy, a lot of strategy in terms of foreign exchange stability and the rest. So we see the rebounds. So look at Dangote Sugar now. Dangote Sugar is on negative of 10 billion for quarter 3 2025. So when they release our financials, I believe that it will surely rebound to positive. So those are stock that I know that investors should invest in. So in terms of MTN, it surely hit 1,000 as at 2026, before end of 2026, based on foreign exchange stability, based on increase in NCC that occurred in January 2025, and based on the economic stability in terms of Nigeria economy.
All right. I like a yes or no answer to this one. We've seen the stocks reach the 52-week high. Are we supposed to expect a pullback any moment from now? And talking about the pullback, should we take loss, or I said take loss? Should we stop loss, or should we just stay knowing that it's going to bounce back? Let's close on that.
All right. So like I mentioned earlier, the market correction will surely set in. You don't expect the stock keep going from now till maybe in quarter 2. But this year, our forecast in Anchoria Research is that the market will perform well in quarter 1 and quarter 2 than in quarter 3, quarter 4. The reason because pre-election activity will set in majorly in quarter 3, quarter 4. And when those things set in, we will see complaints, maybe supply chain distortion, management issue, governance issue, and the rest. So most of this stock will now have to devalue themselves downward. We've seen cases like Guinness, we've seen cases like Vitaphone, we've seen cases like Beta Glass went up and now it's coming down, Total, Connoy, and the rest. So market correction will surely occur. But I'm not seeing the market correction occurring in the month of February. While I'm looking at market correction will surely occur maybe in the month of March 2026. Then in April in 2026, the market will pick up back based on by the time companies start releasing their financial results for quarter 1 2026. So to answer your question, is best you rebalance your portfolio now. Dangote Sugar is currently trading 18 naira in the market currently. You can sell off, take profit in some stock like MTN, Down Cement, Aradel, Okomo. Even though the valuation is still high, you can take profit in it. Then take money back to stock that is still underpriced, like UBA, First Bank, and Access, and the rest.
All right, thank you so much, Kehinde Jones, Head Research and Anchoria Asset Management Limited. It's always a pleasure speaking with you on matters like this. Thank you, and do enjoy the rest of the day.